Hi, I'm Dr. Sidney Morse, and today we're going to discuss an important question. What does it take to be an effective leader today? The reason this is an important question is because we are experiencing unprecedented global change that might possibly render previous leadership models obsolete or ineffective. Since the 1960s, there's been a good deal of research on leadership theory. The central seed of the research goes all the way back to the great man theory, popularized in the 1840s by Thomas Carlyle. It argued that so-called great men help shape history because of their personal charisma, intelligence, wisdom, or political skill. Scholars then used that theory to advance research on so-called trait theory, which also focused on the personal traits of leaders like honesty and integrity, self-confidence, cognitive ability, knowledge, and again, charisma. The research then advanced into what is referred to as the leadership continuum, reflecting classical leadership styles. And these styles, according to the theory, are selected based on the impact of specific forces like forces in the manager, forces in subordinates, forces in the situation and time pressures, and resulted in such styles as autocratic, as an example of extreme control, to participative, a modest element of decision-making, all the way to laissez-faire, which is complete freedom in decision-making by subordinates. Hershey and Blanchard got famous with their introduction of the situational leadership model. I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Blanchard, whose books have sold millions of copies around the world. And at the same time, Fiedler advanced research on the choice of leadership styles with his contingency theory of leadership. In recent years, research used trait theory aimed to extrapolate a profile of the entrepreneurial leader. What makes an effective entrepreneurial leader? The general agreement among scholars is that entrepreneurs share several key traits like strong achievement drive, high degrees of enthusiasm and creativity, a tendency to act quickly when opportunities arise, constant hurry combined with impatience, a visionary perspective, and a natural dislike of hierarchy and bureaucracy. Does that sound familiar to you entrepreneurs out there? In recent years, we've examined the nature of transactional theory and transformational leadership models designed to meet the challenges of new environmental change. And while there is scientific validity contained in all of them, many scholars agree that dramatic change has made some of them contemporarily less useful, while others have contributed to new evolutionary theories like servant leadership and contextual leadership, seen by some as being more relevant to meeting today's new challenges. However, the general foundations of leadership theory about what it takes to be an effective leader were largely created before the introduction of one of the most profound developments in human history. I'll bet you know what I'm going to talk about, namely the introduction and rapid proliferation of the internet. I have a favorite description I like to apply to this dynamic phenomenon. I say, the internet changes everything, and indeed it has. Because of the near complete networking of society today, bound by the internet, not only do we have unprecedented global communication capability, but the speed of communication has triggered unprecedented change. And that means that the previous leadership models may not be able to account for the new skills leaders will undoubtedly have to possess in order to get people motivated toward a shared vision. Understanding the foundations and context of the current wave of change is essential to developing leadership models that best align with the changing conditions and challenges we see today. And this understanding is a critical component of leadership analysis leading to improved enterprise performance. Consider that, according to Pew Research, there are now more mobile phones linked to the internet and everyone else than there are people in the entire world. At last count, approximately 7.6 billion. What impact does this have on leadership behavior? Well, it once again intensifies the time frame within which decisions must be made, but it's also having a rather dramatic effect on organizational and work structure models. No longer is an enterprise associate required to be stagnant in an office in order to function. They can access customer files, shipping information, and other pertinent data from a remote location using only a laptop computer or their phone. So, emphasis is increasingly being focused on the performance of remote teams with high creativity skills. And research shows that the key ingredients that help make those kinds of teams effective is a quick binding of trust. That same research finds that the key essential ingredients in helping the trust to build is the team being anchored to effective leadership at the home office, as it were. And because the change dynamic is becoming increasingly intense, a key skill effective leaders must now develop is embedded in change analysis, being able to identify and anticipate change, and making appropriate strategic adjustments to account for its potential impact. I'll have more on the impact of change on leadership effectiveness in my next lecture, so stay tuned. Hope you enjoyed this introduction to what does it take to be an effective leader today. I can be reached by email at drscmorris@gmail.com. Thank you.